Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about Shepherd Staff and a new scheduler module. Hi, my name is Rod Kiles and I am the manager of Concordia Technology Solutions. I've been with the company quite a few years now and I really appreciate the opportunity to serve churches. You can reach me one of two ways if you'd like. Of course, you can send an email to rod.kiles@cph.org. And if you'd like to give me a call, talk to me personally, you can give me a call at 314-268-1315. Let's go ahead and go through our class overview. Now, today we're going to talk about the scheduler module, and it's just basically going to be an overview. This is the introduction video. We're going to release additional videos here in the near future, and they're going to go into each one of the different aspects of the scheduler module. So there'll be more information to come. So with this video, we're going to talk about conventions and navigation. We're also going to talk about events, inventory, routes, reports, and then we're going to wrap it up with tools and settings. So when we log into the software, there's going to be tabs across the top, and we're going to go through each one of those tabs, kind of, displaying and demonstrating the new software. So I'm excited about the new release. I hope you're excited as well. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started. So I'm going to switch screens and we're going to go to Shepherd Staff. So Shepherd Staff, and everybody who accesses Shepherd Staff is going to need to log in. So I'm going to log in as the system administrator. And you'll notice at the lower left of the window that it says version 2020 8.8. I do have the most recent version of Shepherd Staff installed. Since this is a mid-year release, we're not going to increment the number. But once you do log in, I'm going to click OK here. There we go. Once you do log in, at the bottom of the screen, there's going to be your release, and the release that we're on is 2020-0615. Now, this is kind of like an early release video, so that might change before this actually goes out to customers, but you can look for it to be that number or later. Now, across the top of the window, it's going to be just like your current software. It's going to have membership, attendance, contributions, finance, scheduler, utilities, help, and exit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into scheduler, and now when it loads, it's going to look like what you're used to seeing in membership and attendance. So across the top of the window, you're going to see your module icons. And then there's going to be the shared resources that you can access irregardless of which module you're in. So there's going to be subgroups, reports, your month at a glance, your to-do list, your task manager and to-do list, send email, there's web tools, and then there's sync with Unite. And there's actually one new icon here that wasn't there before, which is warnings and reminders. So these are going to be our shared items at the top. Now, when I say you can access them in different modules, some modules don't have certain items, so you can't create custom reports in the finance module. You also can't do subgroups in the finance module, but basically the view that you're seeing across the top is going to be the way the software will look when we finish this module by module rewrite. So you can kind of look forward to the new streamlined navigation that's here inside of the software. So each one of the modules will have their own little floating window like this, and they'll be self-contained. So inside of here, you'll have tabs across the top. So with scheduler, it's events, inventory, routes, reports, and then tools and settings. And with each one of the tabs, there's going to be these sub-tabs, or the majority of the tabs, there'll be these sub-tabs. So events, then underneath events, there's events, rooms, and contacts. Underneath inventory, there's going to be your inventory items, vehicles, keys, maintenance, loans. Under routes, there'll be routes, route summary, route contacts, and route workers. And then under reports, that'll be a collection of your reports. And then, of course, tools and settings, where will be where your tools and settings are now centralized and stored. So we're kind of going with that tabs across the top and then sub-tabs running down the side to kind of group and gather everything together. So the grids that you saw in the prior version of the software will now be converted into these sub-tabs. And you'll be able to go to that sub-tab and use the search items here at the top. So there's going to be searches, and then there's going to be type or groups or filters to be able to filter information. Then also there will be action buttons across the bottom, and those action buttons, they'll work with Alt tabs as well, like Alt E will edit and Alt D will delete. So this is going to be the new layout for Scheduler, and as we progress, we'll be moving toward contributions next, and then that'll be the next module that we redesign. Running down the right-hand side is going to be your favorites bar. So there'll be actions where you can select an action from the drop list. You'll be able to star that action as you like, if you'd like. And then you'll be able to place that underneath My Actions. Then there'll also be My Views. Each one of your grids is now going to be considered a view, and you'll be able to configure that view and save it underneath My Views. And then there's My Reports. And when you're underneath Reports, you'll be able to configure your report and then use the Save button to save it under Reports. So this Favorites bar is going to be an area that's customizable to the specific user who's using the software. So each user will have their own favorites on the left-hand side. Now, the Scheduler module is a module that was designed to allow churches to keep track of church events, enter in ministry routes, print out calendars, and also use the task manager and to-do list. You can access the task manager and to-do list throughout the software, but the Scheduler module is considered the home of those two components. So when you're inside Scheduler, it's all about scheduling and kind of maintaining and keeping track of things. Now, when you're working with events, you'll have a list of events. Now, this is a dummy database that we have set up here, but we have events inside of here, and you'll be able to create events. We have ones in here, Sunday worship, Bible studies, different types of events that take place, but there may be quite a few different events that you want to record in the system and then use reports to print out a calendar or help you manage your volunteers. There's quite a few different things you can do with this module. So when it comes to events, events are kind of like the piece that hold this Scheduler module together. Events can have rooms and contacts, and they can also have inventory pieces tied to them as well. So I want to show the Add Events windows here. And with this Add Event window, it's going to have this little window that pops up in front. So if we're adding in a new event, it's kind of the concept of quick add. So we know that there's some things that you're going to have to create an event, and we want to speed that process up. So let's say that we do late worship here. So this is our noontime worship. Then we can type in the name of the event. You'll notice that there's an asterisk to the left of it. So things have changed just a little bit in the software. So a field that's going to be required is going to have a little asterisk to the left of it. You can type in the name of the event, then you can select the room. So let's say this is going to take place in the sanctuary. Then I can double click on the room, or I can click the arrow to add the event over to the right. So I kind of like to double click, so I'll do that. And the plus button will allow you to add a room. You'll notice this plus button throughout the software right now. So you don't have to close this window if you don't have a room available. You'll just use the plus button to create your own room or a new room. And every single event is going to take place in a room. With this release, you'll be able to assign all rooms, or you can assign multiple rooms. So no longer are you just tied down to a single room. So I'm going to say that since this is late worship, it's just going to take place in the sanctuary. But then from there, if I don't like it, I can cancel, but I'm going to click continue to add that into the system. Now, one or more rooms have contacts and or inventory. Would you like to use them for this list? So when we set up, and we'll go through more of that in an upcoming video, but when we set up our rooms and our contacts and even our inventory, we can kind of weave those things together so that they are one unit. And then when you add one of the items, it pulls all the other items into it. So one or more rooms have contacts or inventory. So I could say yes. And I can automatically pull those contacts and inventory items directly into our room here, into our event. So from there, if I wanted to remove somebody, I could, circle minus to remove it. If I needed to add inventory items, I could add inventory items. So from there, I kind of, top to bottom, left to right, I review the fields that I want to fill in. So type of event, this is worship, expected attendance, I could type in that amount. Date, I can fill in the date, and I can use the calendar to select the date that I want. So this is late worship on Sunday. So let's say the 28th. Then begin time and end time. So at that point, I'll review over here to make sure that there's not a conflict. So let's say that this service is going to start at 12:30 p.m. and run till 1:30 p.m. And then I can fill in notes. Once I've done that, then down at the very bottom, save this event as a repeating event. I can click on my question mark to jump over to our help center. And then I can also click save. So attendance cannot be greater than the maximum amount. Oh, expected attendance, maximum occupancy. Let me go back. And I did want to show this, so this kind of popped up on me almost at a perfect time here. So if you have a conflict, and you may have noticed this in membership, that's kind of where we really jumped in and added it into the system. So with Shepherd Staff Now, there's this conflict management aspect of the software. So when the software finds a conflict, it's going to pop up this window, and then it's going to highlight the conflict in red. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change this to 0 so I don't get a conflict, but then click save, and it will save my event at that point in time. So conflict management is just a way that mistakes don't happen so that your reports or other problems don't occur. So if I want to find my late service, I could type in late here in my filter, and then it'll just filter and show me that event at that point in time. I can also repeat the event if this is going to be an event that's going to go forward year after year, or I guess week after week, month after month, year after year. I can repeat the event as well. So that's how you'll add an event into the software. The add windows are going to be very similar to this events window. And you'll go through each one of the sub-tabs, adding in the items that you need. And there's a little bit of an order to it, and we'll dig into that here in the future. But that's kind of the way the software is going to work. So once you've added your events, I'm going to go ahead and show one of the reports. The calendar report, lots of people like to generate a church calendar. So calendar, and then you can select your format. And I'm going to say fix with. You can filter by the items. You can you can also filter by event, and you can state the items you want to include, but then click print, and then that will allow you to print out your calendar. So that's the way the new calendar is going to look, which is pretty awesome. So I'll close that, and then from there, I've completed my task. So, okay, awesome. Well, that's the information that I have for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and look forward to publishing the other videos. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.